Right. We're up to Memches Omud Aleph, 6 lines from the bottom. We're up to Memches Omud Aleph, 6 lines from the bottom. The Kamal Shiur Isa. The Gemara here is discussing the question that the smaller the dough, the less chance it will become chometz because you can work with it faster. So what is the correct size for the dough to be? It's important to if it's wheat, kabin, 2 cup. Or if it's barley, 3 cup. The amount of flour you get out of 2 cup of wheat and 3 cup of barley is similar. So therefore, by wheat it's 2 cup, by barley it's 3 cup. He says other way around. We say machlekas estira. In one place says by wheat 2, and in one place says by wheat 3. And another place by barley says 3, and by barley another place says barley says 4. It depends if it's good quality grain or bad quality grain. If it's good quality grain, so then you only need 2 or 3. If it's bad quality grain, then you need 3 or 4 respectively by wheat and by barley. If you think about it, from wheat it goes from 3 to 2. Good wheat is 2, bad one is 3. By barley it goes from 3 to 4. Now a little child will say to you that's the same ratio. If you know anything about mathematics, it's not the same ratio. By wheat you're going from 2 to 3, so that's extra third because it's bad. By barley you're going from 3 to 4, you're only adding a quarter because it's bad. So you see the difference between wheat and barley is more, the difference between good wheat and bad wheat is more dramatic than the difference between bad barley and good barley. Because by good barley and bad barley, it's only a quarter difference. By good wheat and bad wheat, it's a third difference. Bad wheat is worse. Inferior wheat is worse than good wheat. Tfei worse more than the difference between bad barley and good barley. Tilsa, there goes down a third. Vachaviva goes down a quarter. So therefore, we see that there's a huge difference between the wheat, between the good wheat and bad wheat, and between bad barley and good barley. Amarav, Kaba Bulugno, the Pischa. Bulugno is the name of a place, and he said that you should use a calf, 1 calf, which is not like the Gemara before, because Gemara said before 2 or 3. He said 1 calf. And the same measure you need for challah. The Gemara, tiny Mamchesim, based off of the page. You need 5 quarters of a calf. By the way, how much is 5 quarters? Anybody know about maths? How much is 5 quarters? It's 1 1/4. 5 quarters, another way of saying 1 1/4 calf. There's machlikus Rashi traces whether to read the word v'oid. Rashi missed out the word v'oid because it says it's exactly 5 quarters, 1 1/4 calf. Trace says you need v'oid because you need that when you've taken the challah, there's still that amount of shiur of challah there. So he says 5 quarters, v'oid, and a little bit more, because you need that when you've taken the challah, there should still be the shiur challah. Chayavim b'challah. So how could you say kaba b'lukno 1 kav? Here we say 1 1/4 kav. Hochi kaba kaba b'lukno nami shiur koi. That kav in b'lukno is the same as 1 1/4 kav elsewhere. So that kav in different towns would have different measures. A liter, Rashi says in a few ways, a liter in one place won't be a liter somewhere else. So therefore, this b'lukno, 1 kav was the shiur of challah and the shiur of matzah. Omav Yosef, Hani Nashi to Don, our wives, no, they're more machmir. The meifa kafiza the pischa. They don't even do a whole kav. They only do 3/4 of a kav. So therefore, they're much more machmir than they only do 3/4 of a kav at a time. In fact, if you go to a matzah bakery, you'll see they give everybody small amounts of dough to work with. You think that's a chumrah? Chumrah dosadei kulahu. It's a chumrah which becomes a kula. Why is it a kula? If you do it like that, they will never take challah. If every woman only ever bakes for matzahs 3/4 of a cup, so nobody ever needs to take challah. We all know the shiur of challah, the minimum shiur of challah is 5/4 of a cup. So by doing these small measurements, it's a chumrah legabe chometz, because like the smaller the dough, the more you work it, the less chance it will become chometz. But there's now, you're not going to be ever give challah, so you've done a chumrah, which is a kula. So he said to him, Omale, to come after the Mechala, you get rid of Chala. Omale, the Gemara now is going to give a whole different Gemaras that there is a way that even if you make separate doughs, they should be Chav Chala together. What's the way? Does anybody know? They touch, they bite each other, meaning the dough bites each other, they put in the same basket. So over here, we're going to have this Gemara is going to discuss different ways to make the doughs Chav. If you take, you bake, and then you put it all in one basket, hasam itself on the chalo. The basket joins up for chalo. Only when the doughs bite each other, and that means when you touch each other, they pull away from each other. But thin wafer bread not. So therefore, even matzahs, the halacha is that if you put them all in one basket, so the Gemara says it's a chumrah to use a smaller dough, or it's a kula that you won't take a challah. It's not a kula you won't take a challah. Why is it not a kula you won't take a challah? Because you will take challah. How do you take challah? You put them all in the same basket. Says the Gemara, boy of Yomi, a tablo she'en on the basket. We have to put it in the basket that has no rim. Basically, sometimes you have like on a table, like a tray, where there's no, it doesn't go, the tray doesn't go up, it's a flat tray. Is that also called a basket? Well, what's the stodim? It needs to be within the keli. You can't call that within, it's on a flat tray. Or it needs to be within the airspace. So you've got a good shaila, which we don't know, but we're basket the yafim machmir. If you want to join chalas together, can you put it on a flat tray? It's a suffix. So what do? We want to join challah together. We put it in the basket, and then we even more machmir, we put the towel on top. But that is the halacha that you have to put within one basket. Putting it in the oven, that's also good enough. That means if it's all in the same oven, even if it's not in the same basket. If you put the dough and they bite each other in the sense that you put the dough next to each other, and then by you pull them apart, they pull apart the dough, that's also mitzvah. So there's three ways to mitzvah of challah: basket, oven, or if they bite each other. Now, there are three stages to baking. The first is to knead it, then you shape it, and then you bake it. Rashi tells us each one of these three stages takes the equal amount of time. So we've got machlekes, we want everybody to work as quickly as possible with the dough in order that it shouldn't be a problem of chametz. The question is what to do if they've all got one shared oven. So this is like this. They all knead at the same time. They could all bake in the same oven. So let's imagine the three of us, me, Yisroel, Chesky. First it was Chesky, isn't it? So we all decided to bake together. So we're all kneading our own private dough. And then we're going to have to wait outside the oven, turns each put it in the oven, which means that what's going to happen to your dough? It's going to be waiting outside the oven, doing nothing, and nevertheless, it's not a problem. No, we can't do that. The three work the same dough. They more explain at greater length, but the idea is we do a rota system. While one of you needs, the next person does nothing. Let's say Chesky needs, we do nothing. Then he starts shaping. We said kneading, shaping, and baking take the same amount of time. You start shaping, Yisroel starts kneading. Then you put it in the oven, Yisroel starts shaping, I start kneading. By the time it comes out of the oven, he's now ready to put his in the oven, I'm ready to start shaping, and then you start your next batch and you start kneading. So it's a whole complicated cycle where nobody's ever waiting at any particular moment. Not all women are the same, some are better than others. Not all ovens are the same, not so all wood are the same. If it starts to look like it's about to come chametz, tiltish b'tzein, and you throw of it cold water. The one who needs he mekatefes makes it into a shape. One makes it into a shape like we explained. The second one starts kneading. Mekatefes, the one who originally was shaping, he oifa starts baking. The second one now starts shaping. Vashnishus losha, and the third one starts kneading. Oifa he losha, the one who finished baking starts the next round of kneading. And the second one is now baking. It's quite complicated to read into the words like more, but the more means basically like this. There's three different people. Each one's doing a third different stage. One person's baking, one person is shaping, one person's kneading. When the person finishes baking, he starts kneading, and the next person now starts baking, and the next one starts shaping. And that way, nobody's ever waiting for each other. Some women are working fast, hard working, some are not. We talk about moist wood or dry wood. Dry wood burns well, moist wood doesn't. We only have what the Chacham said. It starts getting wet. It starts getting chometz, tiltish, but soon add to it cold water. So now we've got. Should we wait for this? Amen. Okay. Amen. 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 This next Mishnah, we actually did it, so it's quite easy, so it's going to take us 2-3 minutes. Basically, like this, there are 3 stages to chametz. First, it gets a pale, then it gets a little bit of cracks, then it gets interlaced cracks. If you remember, by the Machlokes Tanoim, one stage is proper chametz, one phase is only called Shiur, which is not such good chametz. But Meir's Machlok, he says when it gets pale, it's already Shiur. When it gets cracks, it's real chametz. If there's more makeup, when it's pale, it's nothing. When it gets cracks, it's lighter chametz. When it gets interlacing cracks, it's proper chametz. That's what the Mishnah says. And what the Mishnah and the Beis says both do, bring both down, both shittas, except each one brings it in slightly different names. That's all. Seir Yisroel should get burnt. For Oichle pottery, don't get colours because it's not real chametz. Siduk, if it got cracks, Yisroel should get burnt. For Oichle chayav colours. Ezu sir kegade chagovim. If it's got already like little cracks, like the horns of locusts, Siduk shnisal was stuck in zebazeh divrei Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds seir, it's got little cracks, and then it's not real chametz. When it's got interlacing cracks, that's already chayav kos. Which is just a in both cases, chayav kos because that's real chametz. What's the seir? Should not chayav kos because the person's very scared. His hair stands on end, so his face goes white. So when the dough goes white, it's not real chametz. But once it's got cracks, it's real chametz. So the more brings first the shittas for a male. If it's got cracks like horns of a locust, when they get interlaced. In both cases, the chayav kos, which the more understands and I haven't enough, is referring to shittas Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda holds you don't get kos when it's only a lighter chametz. Furthermore, a non-science say Yisroel v'echlepota divrei Rabbi Yehuda. What, according to Rabbi Yehuda, is only considered lighter chametz because it's only got light cracks. According to Rameh, you chayav kos because he considers that real chametz. What's the svar of Rameh that you get kos? At the end of the day, it's only got little cracks. So make it taste that should be real chametz. When you see the face of the dough, it's got little cracks, you should be aware that underneath it, it's got many cracks, and therefore it's real chametz. So you've got 3 different stages. If it's got lots of cracks, everybody agrees it's real chametz. If it's got white face, according to Rameh, it's seir, which is osam minater, but there's no cause. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's mutar minater. If it's got small cracks, according to Rameh, it's as if it's got lots of cracks, and therefore it's osam minater chayav kos. According to Rabbi Yehuda, it's osam minater, but there's no chiyuv kos. Okay, we'll start the Mishnah. Boss, some Memtes, some Medalef, from Mitzvah Shem on